Hey gorgeous, this is episode number 183 with the amazing Krisha Young.
Hi, this is Krisha Young. You are listening to Heart Sells Podcast with Christine Schlonsky. Enjoy.
I'm so excited to have the conversation with Krisha Young today, and we are going to talk about no hustle needed. And maybe you can relate that you would love to find a way where you do not need to hustle all the time, but where life is in flow, your business is just working beautifully, and you are getting out of your own way to make all the amazing magic happen. Krisha is helping women to get out of their own way and to create a life and business on their own terms. After a rocky start to life herself, throughout a lot of trial and error, Krisha was determined to discover her inner truth, essence, and power, and so she has been on a journey towards self-empowerment, self-love, and soul alignment. This in turn has helped her create a business and a life that not only supports her values of freedom and integrity, but that also helps to support business owners and professionals around the world to do the same. So I can't wait to dive in with the wonderful Krisha Young. Well, I am so excited, Krisha, to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I know. We had a couple chats before talking about, what we could deliver to the audience and where they might be struggling, where we could bring your expertise to the table to give them some steps, some ideas of where to go or what to think to make life easier, especially when it comes to sales.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what do you see in the market when you see those heart-centered entrepreneurs who are driven, who really want to do good with their gifts and services? Where do you see them struggle most in their businesses?
I think they struggle the most with the more masculine side of business. The more the pieces that take them out of flow a little bit. The pieces that require maybe that left brain, more structure, and because I know I struggle with that too sometimes, where it's like, I just want to be in flow. I just want to be in my feminine energy. I just want to be, in that space of leading from my heart all of the time. But we do need to have that balance between that flow and the getting stuff done. And it's I think it's establishing a new relationship with hustle. I think where a lot of people are struggling right now is the old definition of hustle just doesn't fit with us anymore. We don't want to grind our face into the pavement anymore. We don't want that. We want to be able to have results and move our business forward and do the things that we need to do. Be driven, be organized and have, that structure in our business to be able to bring in the revenue and bring in the clients and move it and grow the business. But we need to find that new way of doing it that is no longer that hustle, that hard grind. You mentioned Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like we have this, before we went live, we have this idea that, in order to be successvel, we have to work 90 hours a day. We have to work 90 hours a week or whatever it is, and never take a break and just like really, really, grasp. It's very graspy, gripping energy. And I know a lot of heart-centered entrepreneurs, that is just not at all what resonates, right? And so I think it's just finding that balance between coming from your heart, coming from your soul, doing the things that really light you up and make you feel amazing in your business, but then finding your own groove in how to do the more quote unquote hustly pieces in order to grow that business. And sometimes this could be just delegating, hiring somebody else who, might be more inclined to be able to work that way in order so that you can kind of take that off your plate, still move your business forward, and stay in that more flow state. But that's not always possible for everybody out the gate. So it's finding that own internal harmony.
Yeah, yeah, I like the harmony piece. So are you
Mhm.
basically saying that like the flow, the more feminine energy and the hustle, is that something that excludes each other?
I think that for some people, it can be an either or.
Mm,
And I think we need to look at it as like get rid of the old paradigm of hustle and look at it more as, in order to move forward, we need to have that structure. We need to have that pointedness and that direction and that, sort of like stability in focus in our business in order to be able to move it forward while coming at it from an energy of flow and love and that heart-centered place. I think people, what I see a lot is people, like, there's a lot of polarity in action where it's like you're on one extreme or the other. There's that black and white thinking that exists out there. And so finding that harmony, that yin and yang, between, running your business like a business while in flow.
yeah,
It's a beautiful
I love
balance.
that. Yeah, I think that's what I do. That's why I ask, because, sometimes I get a lot of stuff done. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I'm hustling at the same time, but I'm so into it, so
Mhm.
absorbed
Yeah.
that it's like it feels like flow for me because that's what I chose in that moment, and
Yeah.
it feels amazing. So
Yes.
it's interesting that that we're kicking off with the feminine and the masculine energy, because I do think it's important to know that if you create that harmony within you, because we have both energies within
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
so that men have feminine energy as well, and we have masculine energy as women.
Yeah.
So finding a balance that works for us and that works for the business, so we can create the lifestyle and the business we just love,
Yeah.
is probably the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because there's no point in creating something if you're not in love with it.
Yeah. Yes. Totally agree. And I mean, you have done a lot with the ascended woman movement, and you helped women to tap into their true design and building these strong inner foundations.
Yeah.
And one thing we talked about before hopping on the call was the very interesting thing when it comes when you basically shift from selling something for someone to
Right.
selling your own stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what have you seen in your experience?
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I had to go through, or didn't have to, I got to go through that journey myself. And with my clients as well, the women that I work with, there's this like desire to serve and this desire to give their gift out into the marketplace, and whatever that gift is. But it's when we're giving something out there that comes so naturally to us, there's
Mm-hmm.
almost like, why am I being paid for this? I shouldn't be paid for this. Like that's crazy. This comes so easily to me. And we have that paradigm out there that we need to work really hard. Work needs to be hard. We have to grind. It needs to be heavy and difficult or whatever. In order for us to be able to get something in return for it. So we work hard for our money, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the idea? It's like, if you're working hard, then you are deserving to be paid.
Oh,
But when we are in our flow, and when we are tapped into our genius, and when we're tapped into our skills and our talents, our natural abilities, it's so easy. And so how can we possibly get paid for something like that? Like, it just, there's a dissonance about
it
that,
doesn't
because
seem fair, doesn't it?
it doesn't seem fair. And it's like
Yeah.
this, yeah. And you know what I do is, I often refer to celebrities, and to put this into perspective for my clients and to myself sometimes, when I forget this, because we all are on a journey and we're all learning, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We're always growing and evolving.
Always growing, always learning. Whoops, I forgot about that. Okay, if we look at people like Beyonce and Michael Jackson, right? They are, or Michael Jackson was, very talented people, naturally talented, right? And they, for whatever reason, however it happened, it doesn't matter, but they allowed their gifts to be given to the world, and they were given financial abundance in return. Now, we don't have to go into the whole like crazy brokenness of celebritydom. But that's what's happening. They have a gift that a lot of people benefit from, and they receive in return. They receive the celebrity, they receive the money, they receive the accolades, the awards, all of that kind of stuff, right? It's no different for us. Just because we're not Michael Jackson talented, it doesn't mean we're not talented. We still have our own unique abilities and our own unique skills, and everybody has it. It's just a matter of allowing it to come to the surface, owning it, and coming from that place of, you know what, there's something that I have within me that is able to help somebody else. And it is safe for me to receive in return for that. It is safe for me to receive money. It is safe for me to receive recognition. It is safe for me to receive referrals and whatever else it is that we get in business, when we are enabling ourselves to tap into our own inner genius and our own inner talents that just come so naturally, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, for sure, those guys struggle with their own self-esteem. It's very obvious, right? Like so many celebrities struggle with this themselves, because you see a lot of the drug use and a lot of the stuff that happens in that land, because they're not maybe being mentally supported in their journey. Maybe the success was too fast or something like that. But there is that exchange, talent, expressing it in whatever way, and then receiving accolades and financial abundance in return for it. So why is it okay for them and not okay for us?
Yeah. And also I mean, if we take that example, I don't really know that there is an overnight success. They all have trained and worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
And so it's like for some people, they look at these celebrities and they think, well, it came overnight. But when you really listen to their stories, it didn't.
No.
And, you can be your celebrity in your niche.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
how people see you, how people perceive you. And even if you don't want to be a celebrity, like, delivering decent work to people that need it, I think that's everybody's obligation. Like, why would you hold back? Because you are unique. And that's something that I struggled with for a long time. Like seeing myself as unique, even though we are connected, we are still all unique, because nobody has the same experience than you have. Nobody has lived your life. Nobody has studied what you studied. So it's all very, very unique. And even if you teach the same topics, the way you teach it and the how you say it and what you might emphasize on is different than other people do it.
Absolutely.
So giving your gifts to the world, I think, is so, so important. And coming back to the interesting thing that happens when you start being in business for yourself, for your own talents, there's this magical shift that happens, that all of a sudden you were totally fine to ask for money for a company you worked for, but now starting your own business, all of a sudden you shake, right? And I had the same thing. I so remember the very first thing I ever sold online was a $97 workshop.
Right.
And when the first person bought, that was so much more like worth to me than, the millions and hundred thousands of dollars I had made working for the company.
Right.
Because it was somebody said yes to what I uniquely created, what I came up with.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge shift. And after that, things became easier, but, kind of breaking through that barrier, like, oh my goodness, I'm making this all up. It's like, it was amazing. So did you have an experience like that? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like I had actually never really sold before anything before becoming an entrepreneur. My corporate career was in sort of more in the supporting side of things than customer facing, and I'd had a couple retail positions over the years, but there was very little, if any, sales happening. And there was this big draw to entrepreneurship because of the freedom element of it and being able to serve. I know, right? So juicy.
No wonder we vibe.
I know. And so, yeah, I remember when it was like, oh yeah, I've got all these programs and products and all this stuff, but I wasn't selling it because it was like, oh my God, I have to ask somebody for money. I have to, and this was the mentality at the time, right? Like I have to, like, and I think, when I really had to get over this quickly because I quit my corporate job and I had no kind of safety net. And I remember, oh my gosh, like I had coaches, a coach that was helping me learn and understand sales. So I was reaching out to get some support with that. To like, okay, what is a sales conversation? How do you do that? Like, what do you say? What is your energy when you are having this conversation with somebody? And all of my sales conversations were just like so terrifying. And there were times where I wouldn't even like ask for the sale. I'd just be like, okay, hope you had a really nice coaching session. Bye.
Yeah. That's what I hear too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not going to ask you for any money. I'm not going to ask you to work with me because, whatever, I'm too terrified to do that.
And you should figure out that yourself, right? That's like, that's what people think. They think like, you build it and then they just come, they line up at your door and everybody wants to get it because it's so awesome, which is true, but they don't know. So your job is to tell them.
Yeah. One of my first clients that paid me in full for my like one-on-one higher ticket program. It was hilarious. We were at a live event and learning, mindset and our relationship with money and all that kind of stuff. And this man came up to me after I had been on the mic in this place talking a little bit about my business and what I do, and it was nutrition work at the time. And he comes up to me afterwards and he's like, can you help me? Like I've had a heart problem and I'm pre-diabetic. Like I really need to get my act together. And I remember like trying to like have this sales conversation with him. And his whole business was teaching other people how to sell. And so he was like, he let me kind of flounder and do my sales pitch, which was awful. And he was like, okay, yeah, at the time. And he was like, okay, well, here's some tips on how you can make your sales conversion better. Like, these are the kinds of questions that you could have asked me. This is what you could have done. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to hire you. And I was like, okay. And it kind of made me realize that, when you just come from that place of service and just basically being like, hey, listen, like, whatever, I can help you. If you're struggling with this, I can help you. Do you need my help? Would you like my help? Because if you do, then let's just do this. Like, that's kind of like the attitude and the energy. And then it's like, yeah. And the exchange here, is this. This is what the exchange is, right? So this is what I'm charging in order to give you these services, and I expect you to show up and to do the work and to whatever, right? But yeah, it was hilarious, like getting schooled by
your client. Yeah, that's
by
so
my
fun.
client. Yeah,
and it worked out. So from where you are now, so what you've learned over the years, what kind of advice could you give people? What they can do, especially with that energy piece, to show up in that conversation, because so many people are so fearful of the sales conversation that they bring that fear to the table, and then obviously it's going to be a different conversation than when you come with all of your confidence and with the right energy.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of no real like quick fix, easy answer for this, right? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of this boils down to self-worth. A lot of this boils down to, how do you feel about your own services? Like, do you feel that your services have value? And and it's like letting that kind of sink in and
So, but
getting
how can I
that
know that my
sense.
services have value if that stuff is fun, if it comes so easy that I do it all day long anyway without getting paid?
Right.
How can I put the value on that?
How can you put the value on that, right? And that's part of the thing too. Like, how do we put a monetary amount on the work that we do? Like, that's just an esoteric, that's a number that you need to be comfortable with, right? And so when I do this with my clients, generally what I do is I get them to write out all of the ways in which their services help people.
Mm.
So what are the benefits that people are getting? And it was one of my previous coaches that gave me this exercise. He was like, you need to write out 100 ways, even 200 ways in which your services are benefiting somebody else. And that, what it does is it allows you to start to see this thing that you love to do and that is totally, you could do for free all day long. What are the benefits that other people are getting out of that? And when they're getting that benefit, what's the value on that, right? So like, teaching a woman how to love herself and how to tap into her intuition, right? Which is a lot of the work that I do. So what are the benefits from that? Well, she becomes more confident in herself. She has stronger boundaries. So now she's standing up for herself more, which means that she's going to have better relationships with people. She is going to be able to navigate through life in a way that is much more self-empowered and not from that weaker sort of like victim-y place anymore. She's going to be strong and confident, and she's going to show up as a leader to other women and other people in her life and maybe her kids. And so now her kids are going to benefit, or the people in her life are going to benefit. And then they trickle that out, right? Like, you have to really think about the big picture of what your work is doing in the world and how it's that butterfly effect, right? All of these things that you're doing to support people are then helping them support other people in their life, and then they're supporting other people in their life. And so when you start to look at it in that kind of point of view, and all of the benefits that your clients or your community or whatever get just by having you share your genius, your skills, your talents, your experience, your opinions, your advice, allows them to, really become stronger, become more empowered.
Yeah, and
And then from
empowering
that,
everybody around them as well.
exactly. And then from there, they make more money and they have better relationships and blah, 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 right? Like, they lose weight maybe, or they get healthier, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that has huge value.
Totally agree. And I
Right?
can't wait to dive into this with you a little bit deeper. So we're running out of time for the first episode. So let people know where they can go, where they can find you. And obviously there will be everything in the show notes. So all the links to you are just one click away. But if somebody wanted to go right now, where do they go?
Okay, absolutely. You can find me on my website, KrishaYoung.com, KRISHA, Young, YOUNG.com. If you sign up for my free offer, then what you'll also get is my Key to Clarity guide, and you'll also get my newsletters. We send out a newsletter. Is it newsletter? I don't know. It's like nectar from the universe, basically. It's information on how to move yourself and your business forward on a weekly basis, and but also on Facebook, Instagram. Just search Krisha Young, and you'll find me on all those different channels, LinkedIn, all the rest of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I'm looking forward to the next episode with you.
Thank you.
Well, what a great conversation. I really hope you took some notes, and I'm quite sure that you can relate. Something that comes so naturally to us, to you, putting a price tag on is not always easy. And that's what I love helping my clients with, to see their own value, to own their awesomeness, to package in a right way. And I just love the conversation with Krisha. So make sure you hop on over to christineschlonski.com, find the podcast tab. And also there you have the opportunity to sign up for the empowerment notes. This is empowerment right into your inbox with the podcast updates of the week, as well as with things I usually do not share on social media. Tips, advice, your success stories, inspiration, empowerment. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. And I'm saying bye for now.